Denver's leaders are begging for anti-Trump protests to be calm and peaceful, for fear that President Trump will send the military into the streets here, as he's doing now in Los Angeles. Hundreds gathered outside the state capitol last night to protest the Trump administration's immigration policies and to march in solidarity with the protesters in Los Angeles. When a group of protesters shut down Broadway and moved towards I-25, police started using pepper balls to break up that crowd. We know of 18 arrests, charges including obstructing streets, failing to obey police orders, spraying graffiti, throwing projectiles. 2 people were charged with assault, and police reports say at least 1 person was injured after being hit with a skateboard. Our Mark Salinger spoke with protest organizers and the mayor about hopes that Denver can avoid becoming President Trump's next target.
What goes through your mind when you see those confrontations? Do you say, is the president watching this? What will he do if he sees these videos?
Yeah, I'm frustrated and I'm angry when I see that, because I think it sends the wrong message about where Denver is and what Denver believes. There's no reason to invite a new battle with the president that he would love to start in a city that doesn't have a crisis.
Are you handling these protests differently this time around, knowing that if they get out of hand, the president could send in federal forces?
Yeah, my concern is not really about the president. My concern is about people in Denver feeling safe, but I think the people that miscarry this mission into violence, that's just not tolerated here. And I think the people who care the most about this issue would say that doesn't help them. If people are violent and they're damaging someone's small business, we're going to arrest you. You know, if you are assaulting an officer, we're going to arrest you. If you're trying to light cars on fire, we're going to arrest you.
18 people were arrested Tuesday night after a group of protesters got into confrontations with police.
The stakes are really high.
Carlos Rojas Rodriguez is with the Colorado Immigrant Rights Coalition and helped organize the protest.
And yes, we had some confrontations and altercations with the police, but those are not the folks that we are working with. So I just want to make that very clear.
Denver's police chief says there were agitators in the crowd.
I think try to change the message and turn it into something different from what it originated.
We are here in peace.
How would Denver respond if the president were to send in federal forces or the National Guard into somewhere like Denver?
We think we will continue to make the case there is no need for federal intervention, and we will oppose it if they try to bring it. But I do know if folks here are trying to advocate to protect migrants in this city, the worst thing you could do for those folks is to try to attract the president and the federal National Guard to come to your city. That doesn't help any of us.
Last night's protest was organized by several different groups, including the Party for Socialism and Liberation. They helped organize another rally earlier this week outside Aurora's ICE facility, and that group was also active during the 2020 Black Lives Matter protests. This weekend, a national day of protest is being organized by a group called No Kings. While some of the same people, of course, might be there, these are separate groups organizing them, probably separate vibes as well.
I'm struck by the tone shift from months ago from Mayor Johnson, the guy who was talking about how Denver residents and even DPD would line up at the city limits if immigration officials tried to come in here and round people up. And now it's basically like, everybody keep your head down, don't let Trump see us.
And he made those comments during an interview on Next as well several months ago. And now the tone is very different. It's let's keep our eyes down. Let's take care of whatever we need to on the protest so that they don't escalate to a level. We know the president watches a lot of TV where Denver is on the front page of newspapers and on newspaper headlines and things like that, where the president says, oh, what I'm seeing in Denver, I don't like. I'm going to use this as an opportunity. It's very clear that that right now is a top priority of the mayor.
And let's be honest, based on what we know about the president's media consumption habits and decision-making, it could be whichever city Fox News identifies as the problem, shines a spotlight on, then you get a response. Clearly, the mayor doesn't want it to be Denver. Mark, thank you. My Pillow guy Mike Lindell has bought a lot of election rigging claims over the years, and today at his defamation trial in Denver, we learned that he literally bought one. Jurors heard testimony that Lindell paid $1.5 million for what a guy claimed was a piece of secret CIA software to rig elections. Attorneys for a former Dominion Voting Systems executive suing Lindell for defamation argue that Lindell's put forward a series of batty claims without doing due diligence, including the supposed evidence that Lindell got from the guy who sold him the supposed CIA software that they used to rig elections around the world. Lindell has testified that he did more due diligence on this than anyone in history. Late this afternoon, jurors also heard from one of America's foremost experts on election cybersecurity. Dr. Alex Halderman said that voting machines can and do have problems. But when it came to Lindell's supposed evidence of election rigging in 2020, Halderman told jurors, quote, "It's fake." Halderman testified, quote, "There were real vulnerabilities, but we don't have evidence that a U.S. election result has ever been changed by hacking." He said, "There is no credible scientist who agrees with that. It's science fiction." Lindell says he drained his $50 million, $60 million net worth chasing down these election rigging claims. And problems keep piling up for the MyPillow guy. Right outside court today, he was served with another lawsuit in connection to a FedEx accusation that Lindell didn't pay up $9 million in MyPillow shipping and late fees. Douglas County's voters are being pitched the idea of home rule, in part, they say, to free them from liberal state policies coming out of the Capitol in Denver. As voters in Dougco prepare for the June 24th special election, our Marshall Zellinger found those claims by Republican county commissioners don't check out.
Douglas County residents are returning their ballots from home about home rule. A special election asks voters to approve a home rule charter commission, the first step in becoming a home rule county. What the heck does that even mean?
A home rule charter for counties offers structural flexibility, but not legislative autonomy.
John Peacock is Pitkin County's manager. Pitkin is one of 4 home rule counties. Weld, Denver, and Broomfield are the others. Home rule counties can change to fewer elected offices and more appointed positions. They can be exempt from following state laws that specifically exempt home rule counties, but they cannot be less restrictive than what state law spells out, which got me wondering what Republican County Commissioner Abe Layden meant by this at a home rule town hall last month.
Are we okay with how the state handled COVID-19 and the pandemic?
When the people said no, what's next then?
Yeah, so if we have another COVID-19 and maybe it's COVID-20, and suddenly the state, through its incredible powers provided to the governor, decides to shut down our county again, which is exactly what happened last time, our home rule charter would create a barrier to some of those far overreaching state controls.
If you're trying to preempt state law, a home rule charter doesn't get you there.
In 2020, some of Pitkin County's pandemic response was more restrictive than the state. That is allowed, but the county could not have been less restrictive.
You determine the internal structure and functions. You can't necessarily go against state law.
Steve Boand is a former Republican Douglas County commissioner and is also on the second part of the special election ballot. He's running to be on the Home Rule Charter Commission, should voters approve creating the commission. And Boand, who was once for becoming home rule, is now on the no side, in part because he feels it's being rushed.
Let's say it passes and you're on the commission or you're selected. What role do you play as the contrarian?
I'm not sure I'll be a contrarian on everything, but I'm looking for balance and perspective.
Layden is also running to be on the Home Rule Charter Commission on a special election ballot that are known to have fewer voters participating than general November elections.
Our citizens are incredibly smart, and they're not going to be fooled regardless of what year an election is.
Okay, home rule does not exempt counties from certain laws and policies. Layden gave me an example of how Douglas County cannot sign an agreement with ICE to allow the sheriff's office to cooperate with immigration enforcement because state law says they can't. Well, I learned today being a home rule county would not change that, Kyle.
Well, shoot, Marshall. These pitches are falling one by one. So if home rule doesn't allow for that, doesn't allow them to opt out of liberal state policies that they don't like, what would be in it for these county commissioners to get that home rule power?
You can change your structure, like how many county commissioners there are, your term limits if you want. There are certain state laws, like unionization of county workers that was passed in 2022, that exempts, state lawmakers put that, if you're a home rule county, you are exempt from this. So if there is a state law that says home rule counties don't have to follow it, that would be something home rule counties could dance around.
I hear folks in Dougco, ballots in hand, yelling thanks at their TV because a ton of them have written in asking for a Marshall Zellinger explainer on this, and you delivered. Thank you, sir. There's a warrant out now for the landlord of the infamous apartment complex in Aurora, subject of all the gang activity, after that landlord skipped a court hearing where he faces criminal charges for code violations. The city of Aurora shut down the Edge at Lowry Apartments near 12th and Dallas in February, cited multiple code violations and public safety concerns. That complex was on the national news after President Trump claimed the property and other properties owned by the same company had been taken over by the Venezuelan gang Tren de Aragua. The city cited Zev Baumgarten, one of the landlords associated with CBZ Property Management, cited him for code violations. Baumgartner was supposed to face those charges in court today. He no-showed. Baumgarten's attorneys have claimed he's got nothing to do with the property, despite police reports that identify him as the manager. His attorney also told the court that Baumgarten does not feel safe returning to Colorado. Judge issued bench warrants for Baumgarten today. If he's convicted on these code violations, he could spend up to a year in jail. So 5 years into your Word of Thanks microgiving, your weekly generosity, $15 million worth, has reached into almost every corner of Colorado. There is a rural area, though, that we have not yet reached with a specific campaign. San Miguel County and the west end of Montrose County. If you know that area, it is beautiful open country on the western slope that stretches from Telluride west out to the Utah state line. Like every part of Colorado, there is hunger there. This week's Word of Thanks microgiving campaign supports two nonprofits that are feeding Coloradans on the western slope. A nonprofit called Angel Baskets has served low-income families in that area for more than 40 years with a food pantry, food programs for students before and after school, and grocery gift cards for seniors. Another nonprofit called Fresh Foundation runs the Fresh Food Hub in Norwood. They cover another part of that rural southwest Colorado area. They've got a food pantry of their own, meals for seniors and students, and a pantry plot program where they're growing food to sustain their pantry. These are both relatively small nonprofits, both serving small communities with established track records of helping Coloradans in that part of our state. The program director at Angel Baskets was telling me that the cost of living has been going up relentlessly there and wages just have not followed. It's put the squeeze on a lot of families. We can help. This week's microgiving campaign is in collaboration with our 9 Cares Colorado Shares Food Drive, fighting hunger across Colorado. Scan that QR code on your screen or text the word THANKS to 303-871-1491. We'll send you the link to donate. Your 5 years, $15 million worth of microgiving proves how $5 donations add up to do big-time good. I will never ask you to give if I do not, so I'll match the first 50 donations of $5. More than 5,000 of you are sustaining this incredible effort for good with a monthly donation to the Word of Thanks Fund. You put in your info once, automatically your monthly donations split among all the nonprofits we feature. You help everybody. It started our recent microgiving campaigns with more than $30,000 in donations. There are some things you just don't want in your drinking water.
There's a very slight amount of uranium in those rocks.
Yeah, I would put uranium on the list. And that's the new challenge for a massive reservoir project in northern Colorado, just before it's set to fill up. And speaking of glowing reviews for drinking water, we will take you to the Olympics of municipal water providers. Not just uranium-free, but tasty too. That's next. People living near a reservoir project in northern Colorado are concerned about the potential for uranium getting into their future water supply. It's because water testing found uranium in the rocks that were used to create the dam for the Chimney Hollow Reservoir near Berthoud. Northern Water, the water provider, says what's in the rocks is not expected to contaminate the drinking water beyond safe levels, and they plan to start filling the reservoir this August while they evaluate possible treatment options. Reservoir is expected to be one of the largest in the state, and it could eventually supply water for up to 1 million Coloradans. Northern Water does not plan on using that reservoir for drinking water until at least 2027.
Another warm late spring day with temperatures close to 90. Afternoon thunderstorms bringing temperatures down to a more comfortable level. And the rain, thunder, and lightning not terribly impactful, even though those storms crossed the I-25 corridor right as the evening drive got underway. Temperatures down to 80 in Denver, but still 93 in Grand Junction, 82 in Fort Collins, and 79 in Greeley. A couple of these storms reaching severe limits and have the potential to drop some hail. This east of Akron and north of the Burlington area as they track toward the east. Showers moving out of Denver, south toward the Kiowa area, out toward Agate. Nothing severe in and around the Front Range, and the rain out across the western slope and southwest corner of the state, beneficial in an area of our state that's just been ravaged by extreme drought conditions. Severe threat remains low and to the north of us. Temperatures trending comfortable tonight. 7-day forecast will show exactly what we saw today again tomorrow. We get the morning sun and then we get the afternoon storm. thunderstorms forming by about 1 o'clock, crossing the I-25 corridor between 3 and 5. Should stay below severe weather limits, and this ahead of a warm, dry weekend. Sunshine and mid-90s for Father's Day.
We definitely do want to bring the title home again today. Like I said, it's been a kind of a dry run here.
You don't want to have a dry run at an international water competition. That's next. Trash collection and drinking water. Two city services that are not glamorous. You take those away, and we are living in a dystopian hellscape in short order, friends. So let's take a moment to celebrate the best of the best municipal workers in North America who make sure, among other things, that clean water's there when we turn on the tap.
Doing their first tip.
Today we have pipe tapping. It's the annual pipe tapping contest, the national contest. Pipe tapping is a competition, a race against the clock, to where teams try to drill into a Class 52 ductile iron pipe, and they're replicating putting a new water service like they would do in your local neighborhood.
The Big Blue Tapper.
So we have Mexico, Canada, and the United States, all in North America basically. Sometimes we even have partners from Holland and from England that participate as well. It's a competition of technical and physical prowess that they come out and display what they do, how hard they work to deliver safe, treated water every day in your local neighborhood. It started in 1986, exactly 40 years ago, here in Denver, Colorado. It was actually created to bring more operators to the national annual conference. So they're here not only representing their local state or section, they're representing their local utility and what they do every day.
We definitely do want to bring the title home again today. Like I said, it's been a kind of a dry run here, and but we're going to try our best to bring it home again. The Birmingham Water Works has won it 12 times in the past, so the last time was 2018, so we're looking to bring it home again. It went okay. It could have been, we wish it would have been a little faster, but it looks like it's a clean tap. That's a positive.
The grand prize is having the ability to say, I am an American Water Works champion. But the biggest thing is to have fun, enjoy yourself, learn something new, or make a new friend.
That's amazing. The Alabama-Mississippi team just missed bringing home their 13th title. They placed second, right behind the team from Texas. That's very cool. Marilyn, you ever tap a pipe?
It's on my list.
It's on her list.
I haven't done it yet.
Hasn't done it yet. Well,
coming.
Never say never, even if you don't think it's your thing. Back with your feedback next. We've spent the last few weeks of your Word of Thanks microgiving campaigns fighting hunger in Colorado, from the city to the suburbs, and now in rural Colorado. We're reaching into southwest part of the state, San Miguel and Montrose counties, with a 2-for-1 giving campaign. Each dollar we raise will be split between two nonprofits, both feeding Coloradans in that part of the state. Telluride Angel Baskets and the Fresh Food Hub in Montrose. They run food pantries serving small communities, and they say the need is growing there. Scan the QR code on your screen or text the word thanks to 303-871-1491. We'll send you the link to join me and a bunch of other Coloradans in donating. Frank writes in today to say, I think you're smoking dope if you and the Denver mayor think that President Trump can be held at bay by us simply laying low. Frank says he's coming regardless with troops. Certainly hope not, Frank. If I could give a gold star for the day, I'd give it to BJ, who said, impressed with tonight's reporting. The riots need to stop. Those backing them need to be brought to justice. Peaceful protests are always allowed, and riots diminish the acceptance of peaceful protests allowed under our Constitution. Preach, BJ, preach.